lovelies. Welcome to Read with Crid, where you read with me, Crid. Today we'll be having our first ever book review. We'll be looking at The Diamond Hunters by Wilbur Smith. So, this book is quite fast paced. It is based on 1971 diamond mining. We have our main character, Johnny Lance, who is working for the Vanderbilt Diamond Company. The book starts as our main character is waiting for his flight from Nairobi to Heathrow for a meeting. Shortly into the book, we have a small backstory where we get a bit of grounding where we are, who our characters are, and we have Johnny Lance being adopted by the old man, Mr. Vanderbilt. And Mr. Vanderbilt has two children already, Benedict and Tracy. Now, when Johnny comes into the picture, he steals all the limelight. He's top of his class, best in sports, all that stuff. And Benedict does notice, and that's where the rivalry that grows in through the book begins. Tracy clearly makes her pick and chooses Johnny as her favorite, and that is again seen throughout the entire book. We have the old man hating Johnny for coming in and being better than his own offspring, and he's very, very open about his hatred. Back to the present, the old man dies by his own hand because he was told that he only has 3 months to live, and he decides, you know what, no, you're not going to tell me when I'm going to die. I'm going to die when I want to die. And eventually he kills himself with his own shotgun in his office. They go for his funeral and then they go for the will reading, and turns out the old man has left the entire company's fortune to Benedict, and the entire company's debt to Johnny, which brings a whole other scandal. Now you see, here's the thing. Johnny is very good at discovering, or rather gauging, the kind of places where you could get a good diamond swamp, and Benedict isn't. Benedict is actually quite stupid, if you ask me. And Johnny creates this new technology that will be used to mine in hard to reach places. So it's like a submarine. It goes down, dredges all the minerals and everything, and through a conveyor belt looks through what is just sludge and what is diamonds, and puts the diamonds away and lets the sludge go back into the ocean. Now, this contraption was to be made in Europe, and they're stationed in South Africa. So it was to be made, and everything was to be done in Europe, and it's sent to South Africa ready to work. Now, Benedict was the one who was manning its completion in Europe, and he tinkered with it a bit to make sure that all the diamonds he gets the ones with the bigger carats. So it leaves only 1 carat, 1.5 carats, just diamonds for Johnny, and he gets everything else. So the bigger carats, which is of course more money. We move on to seeing all the back and forth between Benedict and Johnny. Tracy again is constantly caught in the crossfire, and she ultimately keeps choosing Johnny. With time, they both develop feelings for each other in their adulthood, and since they're not related by blood, even the adoption thing was more of like a come stay at my place now kind of thing. It wasn't official adoption. So they get feelings for each other along the way, but the story really doesn't focus on their relationship. And as time goes by, we see Benedict trying to sabotage everything about Johnny. Johnny has a wife called Ruby, and Ruby's a vile woman. Now, Benedict tries to steal Ruby from Johnny. What he doesn't know is Ruby, one, is a very materialistic woman. She's openly a gold digger. The only reason she settled with Johnny, not for love, but for the money that would come in from the diamond mining. Benedict takes Ruby, they sleep together, shameful, they sleep together. He gives her, all the finer things in life, fur coats and all this jewelry with real diamonds, and she likes it, and they join forces to bring down Johnny and get in all the money, all the rubies and diamonds and everything. And eventually, during Tracy's wedding, Benedict and Ruby come out to Johnny and say, "Oh, I've been having a girl. She's mine now, so you're alone." And Johnny's like, "I don't care," in his head though. But he just walks up to her with this deadpan face and just goes, "Pack up your things. Get out of my house." And after that, Benedict realizes Johnny doesn't care about Ruby. So he stops caring about Ruby. He only wanted Ruby because it would hurt Johnny. But once he sees Johnny's not really affected, he's like, "You know what? I don't want you anymore." And Ruby has now lost both men who were her source of income and riches. And she decides, "You know what? Screw you. I'm going to screw you over, Benedict." Runs to Tracy, tells Tracy about everything wrong Benedict has been doing behind Johnny's back. Tracy runs to Johnny, tells him, and then with her chest all puffed up in pride, Ruby that is, runs back to Benedict and says, "I told on you, and now you're screwed." And Benedict is like, "Nah, you're not gonna bring me down." And he shoots her, just pew pew, in his father's office, and she's gone. It was messy, but since he's all weak, he throws up because he can't handle seeing a dead body. Weakling. Right, so after sabotaging Johnny finds out. Benedict runs to the Kingfisher, which is the name of this contraption that Johnny creates, and he tries to drown Johnny inside it by, cutting the pipes, since the machine is underwater, so it's easy for it to flood with water and sludge, meaning that before anyone even bothers to go and check for it, they'll be long gone, probably even eaten by other animals, So it was a sure plan. That was how far Benedict was willing to go to get rid of Johnny. But eventually Johnny's way goes through. Johnny, they have this like race, but on water. So Johnny's on his boat with this super cool a captain, and Benedict is on a smaller boat with a weird with an albino captain. I remember he's called Hugo. He's albino. Right, so they go through this place with lots of rocks sticking out of the water, and Johnny's boat manages to get through, but Benedict's not so much. Later the next day, they find their bodies shipwrecked, rather only Hugo's body, and he's been eaten by birds at the seashore. Yeah, quite vivid in that description. It was lovely. And Johnny decides to look for Benedict because he wants to kill him, but for his pride, he wants to do it, on a "you're at your best, I'm at my best, let's do this" kind of thing. So he goes into the desert to look for Benedict, follows a trail, he can see a shoe was left, and then a bit of a kind of trench where he was crawling and then walking again. So he follows him, finds him somewhere late in the middle of the night. Both of them are out of water. Benedict was caught all dehydrated by hyenas, and they chomped half his face off, so it was hanging. Half his cheek was hanging, dangling from his face. So Johnny wrapped him up. He said, "This is not how you're gonna die. You put me through so much, you don't get a mercy death like this." So he tries to keep this guy alive. Eventually Johnny also runs out of water, and he's about to pass out. He releases 2 flares, and he says that if no one saw those, that's it for them, they're dead. But luckily, just before he passes out, he sees a helicopter come through, and that is how the book ends. I really did wish we'd see more of what happens to Benedict. So from the back, I see there are 2 other books. I suppose one comes before the Diamond Hunters and one comes after. But from my reads and research on the book, there is no sequel. So unfortunately, that is all that we know about the end of that fight. In my opinion, it was a good read. It took me a while to get started on it because I wasn't getting the gist as it starts, but once I got into the flow, it really did go really well. And once they're having their scenes where they're fighting or there's analysis going through, you feel like you're really in there. Wilbur has a way of explaining his things. Okay, rather, Wilbur had a way, because the writer, Wilbur Smith, he died, I think in either 1989 or 98. So yeah, it's a really, really good book. I would recommend it. Yes, I would. It has quite a bit of, in-depth descriptions. So that's the kind of thing you like. This is a really good book for you. You wouldn't believe how it's written. You can't tell it's, back in the day, 1970s. It's a really well-written book. So I would advise it. I would. So that's it for this week's video. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment down below any other books you'd suggest that I read and give a review, or if there's a segment you'd like me to do, let me know in the comments and I will make sure I do something about that. That's it for this week's episode. Bye!